Hello and welcome to a Smurd P video, and today we are looking at X-Men The Wedding Special. Why? Because I love a good wedding, but more importantly I've come to love Mystique and Destiny as a couple. Before, in comics of old, we knew they were together, but it was never sort of fleshed out, never in my mind truly shown until Destiny's return after Inferno. I still don't understand why he called that Inferno. Stupid man. I take that back if you like him, but that really annoyed me because it wasn't the classic Inferno. I feel like he just likes copying old names instead of coming up with new story names. It's kind of lazy in my opinion. Anyway, I digress. I've come to love this couple, so it's pretty cool to be able to read this. So we are married, so I'll let you do that as they celebrate renewing their wedding vows. On the front, which I found contradictory unless it's in here, bear in mind I haven't read all of this, I'm doing it in stages because it's quite a big book. So never told, wedding revealed at last. So clearly they've been married before, so we may get to see that as well. So the wedding special, so it's done in sections. So something borrowed, something blue, wedding gate crashes, get Mystique a gift, Eep its truth, the thief surprise. So wedding special 1. They've got all the pronouns of everybody involved. So the first story is written by Kieran Gillen, Rachel Stolt, and Michael Bartola is on the colors. Wedding Gate Crashes is Tina Howard, Philip Selvey, KJ Diaz. Give Mystique a Gift by Tate Bromble. Emilio Pilu is working with Ima Kinivia on the colors, and I apologize well in advance if I get any of these names wrong. Ep is Truth is written by Yoon Ha Lee. The Thief Surprise by Walt Kennedy, Gene Stonge, Brittany Peer, and then you've got all these other talents that have done probably lots of wonderful covers. So our story begins with the two brides, maybe Mystique is the groom, looking at this picture, and Mystique is trying to decide what gun to bring, and Nightcrawler's like, hey mothers, as he does. Mystique is worried about being elegant, etc. And it's quite nicely done. And you got Nightcrawler going, something else, something new, something borrowed. Hey, something blue. That's something we always have covered in this family. So, which is quite cool. And Mystique is a little bit worried. We soon learn that Saturn hasn't been invited to the wedding, but we have no idea why. Maybe we find out a bit later in the story. And also they start looking at some of the gifts. Mystique doesn't want to wear white, but she wants to wear white, but no skulls. It's called skull white for a reason. I don't know what that means. I'm not going to lie. And she is nervous. Mystique is nervous, and then Colossus comes with the present from Sinister. Love is stupid and so are you. Fondest regards. And it's exactly what they wanted. And Sinister is apparently very romantic. Our next story moves on to Betsy Braddock, Captain Britain. And her and Rachel are in another dimension, and they have to get back to the wedding. However, they've been waiting for a few days for the gate crashers to arrive, and they arrive, and the gate crashers have arrived with the intention to kidnap Rachel and Betsy, and they pry this information from, well, gate crashers' head, and it turns out that Saturnian wanted her. She wanted this because she she wanted to be invited to the wedding. She's like, I bet Captain Britain's been invited. And why didn't I get invited? I bet it's her fault. She got Gatecrasher because she wanted to capture her so she can take one of their invites and go to the wedding ceremony. So, and then Betsy says, you know what? I'm going to tell everyone and embarrass you. She's like, no, please. You wouldn't, would you? And then we just get a nice little ending between the two of them saying, you know what, one day about them perhaps doing this, but they have time to do this. And no, Marvel, we'll see that in 30 years when I'm old and gray. So moving on to the next story, James Logan Howlett Wolverine, which I always find strange. He's still just Logan, let's be honest. You know, throwing in the James and the Howlett always seems a little bit weird. So, Wolverine has invited some of the younger students to help him look for a present. And, well, somebody just says, get her a gun. Nice and simple. But no. Wolverine doesn't want to take the easy way out. He wants the team to deliver something a little bit more, maybe special. So, first gift idea is Pixies, and they go to Limbo, where giving a gift to perhaps an ex-lover. I think that was the idea of this. Is you go and capture something quite meaty, etc. And this is what magic does. And you've got sorry, I forgot myself. You've got Anole going through so much trauma from the last time that they were in Limbo, and let's be honest, it was a bad place. Then Bling takes them to the Savage Land because she is now competing with Limbo in terms of our idea, and this is around a mutant circle to create a gift. And then Anole takes them back to a bedroom where he says, does she deserve a gift at all? He comes out with it, you know, and everybody's getting woozy. She's getting gay marriage, so it looks like it's overtaken all the bad stuff. It's absolutely brilliant. So, and then he mentions Jean-Paul, who once upon a time Anole had a big crush on, if you remember, before he got stabbed by Wolverine. And then you start seeing how these gifts come together, which is great. So we've got attacking the beast, we've got creating the energies using their powers, and Megan mentions hallucinogens, and then we've got Anole giving a big speech about we'll be complicit in Mystique's next betrayal and you know, terrorist act. So it's brilliant, and the hallucinogens makes them all seem like they're ice cream, etc. And then we've got bisexual menace there by Anole. You know, we're just gonna do a sort of a speech, etc. So you know, some of them are drugged. The field trip is over, and it's quite brilliant. So he gives her a gun. That says Destiny. Very, very straightforward. The kids have all brought their gifts as well. And it's quite interesting. Mystique says, you're not here just to give me a gift. You can give me a lesson, etc. And he says, you know what? We had a conversation about laying roots once upon a time. And I believed you when you said we were too twisted that we couldn't be part of that. However, I don't believe with that now. And yeah, she's like, oh, okay, well, she's nice. And she says all the niceties. She's like, well, you're a teacher. The best gift you can give is what you do. And what you do is very nice, which is brilliant. And I think the idea of this issue is around teachers who support in society the LGBTQIA. I think that's what that says. Students, etc. So I think that the idea of this was to say thank you to some of this, etc. So which is great, and we'll get a little bit of romance there between Noah and I can't remember this guy. Is this Indran? It's been a long time since I read New X-Men. It was New X-Men. And then Young X-Men, I think. Right, so our next story is Eep is Truth, and they've been invited by Emma Frost to come in to a counseling session, and the counseling session is around is their relationship true, and they're transported into a telepathic setting to discover this. And Destiny, literally very simple, is she's my love, I ain't find her, man. So nice and easy. And then Mystique fighting Emma Frost comes up with, did you tell her about what happened when you were dead? And we get this movement back to X Factor annual, etc. and you know, how awful it was. And she says, I remember you making me laugh. She goes, even then I was with you, remember? So, you know, part of it, etc. So it's like, whatever it takes, they will be together. And then Mystique's like, you heard my wife, that's it. The illusions are over, etc. And they go off, etc. And Emma Frost comes in here saying, what are you doing? And it turns out that it is Loki in disguise. And he tries to explain himself, etc., about relationships, etc. I'm not really truly sure that they can either of them talk, because they both have their own relationship issues, one brotherly, one with an ex-lover, etc. And yeah, we're gonna see about this, Emma. After all, some things in the universe really are immortal. And then we've got a little love relationship there. So they've proven themselves to be the full-term thing. And the thing that Emma Frost was questioning Loki was around, why are you testing them? Because their love has been through it all. You know, it's pointless. Why even bother, so to speak? Next up is Anna Marie Rogue Lebeau. And this is the Thief's Surprise. So Gambit has been tasked with getting the rings back to Rogue, and today he has to behave himself. And that is all she asks of him, etc. Whilst Rogue is going to dough up her mama on this thing. However, the Thief Guilds want a word with Gambit, but he is, well, he's just going to take them on, basically. So Rogue and Mama have a chat about the relationship, etc. Mainly around Gambit, that she always knew that Gambit was going to be the one, and she didn't want to ruin it for her, etc. And we learn that Gambit is also very embarrassing and has done a song for Rogue in the past. He tried rhyming Anna with banana. Absolutely bonkers. So there is something borrowed that Rogue tries to give to Destiny, and the idea is that this is a suppression of powers, so that Destiny doesn't, it sort of blurs her vision, no pun intended, because she's blind, but the idea is that she can enjoy the day as it is, rather than seeing it in advance and knowing what is going to happen, etc. Oh, and one thing that I forgot is in Wolverine's story, Destiny knew that Wolverine didn't get her a present. Just throwing that in there because I forgot to mention that earlier. So anyway, Gambit can improvise, and he makes everything happen. And just when she thinks that Rogue realizes that she hasn't got the rings, well, Gambit comes through, etc. And Gambit makes her, we also talk about the wedding and enjoying that moment with Gambit, where she did have her powers dampen, you know, was perfect and made her heart whole again, so to speak. Okay, on to the main event, and Kurt is greeting guests such as Wanda, and they are at the Avengers mansion, which he says it feels like bad guys winning, which I thought was weird. Oh, it's because Mystique and Destiny are getting married, obviously. And Mystique, who is nervous and is worried that Irene is late. However, Kurt acknowledges that she sees the future, so she arrives exactly at the right time, which makes perfect sense. So the couple begin to exchange their vows. And for Irene, it was she was in love before she even met Mystique in the bar that night, and she says she's proud. And they recollect their original wedding, which was 2 weeks before Irene died. The first time, by the way, she wanted to be married because she knew the truth. Till death do us part is too small for them. So they died, and they come back in their sort of round circle, etc. So whilst this is going on, Irene actually says she can't. This isn't the woman she loves. Imposter, because Mystique is elsewhere, stealing stuff. So there, Wanda gets an alert saying that somebody is broken into the Emporium, But of course, it wouldn't be, these two doing a wedding without doing the crime of the century at the same time. She also says, "Welcome to the family, Kurt," which I thought was bizarre because I thought this stuff was sort of acknowledged a long time ago. Was it still really unclear that Mystique was his mother or father or whatever you want to call her? So Mystique comes flying in saying, "Kurt, marry us quick. We've got to do a runner." And it's, it's absolutely brilliant and perfect for these two that they would Rob get married, and it's brilliant. And, we talk about role models, and Rogue says strong, independent women that love each other. They could be worse role models, right? And it's great. So, now onto the honeymoon. They're not sure where they're going, but they're going to keep running it. And then after that, we get this beautiful piece, the Journal of Mystique and Destiny from 1980 to 2024. So obviously it begins with, I guess, one of their earlier counters in Days of Future Past, etc. And they must sum this up quite quickly, etc. And then you've got an interview with writer Chris Claremont, which I think is quite cool. I'm going to be honest, I haven't read it, but I'm looking forward to that. And then some other titles that are coming out. Some are exclusives to Marvel Unlimited. So I guess if you haven't got Marvel Unlimited, you could potentially miss out to that. I have Marvel Unlimited. I can't even keep up with them all. And then they've given us a bonus exclusive, which is Marvel Voices Iceman. And the X Factor Annual number 6 by Peter David and Guang Yap that tell the story of Destiny's Last Laugh. And I have read that before. So let's have a look at the Iceman story first. Okay, so Iceman's tale. So Iceman, this must be very early in the Krakoan days. And I probably feel like I should have read this a little bit when I was, reading it. And basically he is, feeling quite happy because, mutants aren't hated and feared at this point in time. However, they're attacked by lava men. Iceman goes in and rescues this lovely gent who, he thinks he's in heaven. But really it's just been saved by an ice omega, whatever mutant you want to call him, etc. However, his enemy has a sort of dampening darts. But he can make do by making some sort of lances, etc. He fights the bad guy, he defeats the bad guy. However, there are lots of these mindless creatures out there. And apparently he's met this guy before who wants to purify mutant kind for trying to take over the universe. But you know what? He sends out some little ice guys. They smother all the flames, and it's a victory. So he gets kissed by the lovely cute dude over here. Meanwhile, hanging out with Julia Richter and Jean-Paul Robaya, and they're just having random chats about, various relationships, one of them being Christian, which didn't really lead anywhere. So he's just sort of experimenting, etc. Although he wants to be, romanced at the same time. And he thought, coming out made him cool, and Jean-Paul does the usual thing, coming out never made you cool, which is great because actually, if you think back to their relationship in Uncanny X-Men when they were both on the same team, it was like Jean-Paul knew that perhaps Bobby was that way inclined. And I think I always, I think I probably referred to this over a couple of years. I never liked how they got Bobby to come out with young Bobby coming out being sort of thrown to the wolves by Jean Grey when she said, what, you like men, or however it progressed. I always felt like it would have been a better story if adult Bobby came out as an adult, suppressing for many years that he was, that he suppressed that he was gay for so many years. I felt like it'd been a better story him coming out, because there are lots of people, perhaps maybe not so much these days, but people perhaps my age, I'm around 40, sometimes back when we were young, it was normal you to meet a woman and, you know, get married. And then some of these people later on, you know, they realize that actually I'm gay, but they've suppressed it for all this year because maybe their parents or whatever reasons, society perhaps. So I felt like it would have been a better story for Iceman to come out as an adult than the way that it did. But that's just my opinion. And there are times that they've talked about it in the past. So anyway, he talks about his first boyfriend, Romeo, when he was young Iceman. And then he catches up with Firestar, who needs some help saving some people, and he ends up getting cracked on the head. Very, very brief, this piece. Maybe because I've yapped on a bit too much. And then finally, he is saved by one another adult Romeo, which makes sense because I'm actually reading The Fall of Iceman now on Unlimited. And, well, Romeo and Iceman are together, safe in, well, trying to save the universe from orchids, whatever. So let's move on to the final story, which I have read before. And this is from the X Factor Annual. So our final story begins with, well, somebody trying to chat up Raven on a cruise ship. And she says, my best friend is with me right here. She doesn't say my love, and I think this is where I was saying near the beginning of the video that it wasn't as explored as it has been in the last few years, this relationship, to give it more deeper meaning than it ever was before. It was always sort of chirped around. Maybe that's not the right words. So she is given a ring and she is given a picture. And she wears this ring, and she looks awful in the picture. And this gentleman is saying, you know, you could have taken a better picture. And we get this moment where Raven says, you have a, I bet you have a wonderful laugh. And she's never heard it. And she's never felt a smile. And bear in mind, I can't remember when Destiny went blind, but after reading the stories more recently, I honestly cannot imagine that these two did not have a laugh together and a good time. And this is something about writing comics for, you know, 65 odd years, etc. Some things change over time. Relationships are shown differently. And, you know, if this was written now, this would certainly be shown differently now. So she wants Mystique to have a good time, be herself, and the moment she changes, she scares this feather. So she's had enough. She's about to go, and Captain Kirk, Star Trek joke perhaps thrown in there. I've been watching Star Trek, the original series, so that's quite well, interesting for me that I've been watching it at exactly the same time, but I would have got the joke anyway. So Destiny throws her in there. So they sort of, I think, irritate each other. Destiny wants her to be happy, and she wants her to enjoy this moment. And she says, and she gives her this ring. And she says, it'll be the last thing I do if I will make you laugh, etc. The ring is also from her mum as well. I thought it was perhaps around the wedding that we've just witnessed, etc. But you know what? It's certainly not. So she sees this, the time's coming up, and she says, you've always got in my hair, you never made me laugh, you got in my hair, you got in my face, and you're never gonna get in my hair, face and hair again. And goodbye, Destiny. And what does she do? Her ashes come flying back. It's absolutely poetic how this happens, etc. And she just sings, she has a good laugh, and Destiny knew this was going to happen, which I guess is a sad bit about this moment. Looking back at this moment, if I had reviewed this comic back then, I perhaps wouldn't have the sentimental awareness of what this moment means, knowing their relationship now. It wouldn't have had the same impact other than Destiny's had the last laugh on Mystique. So yeah, a beautiful, beautiful comic. And I've really enjoyed it. Mystique and Destiny renewing their vows. Absolutely sensational stuff. And perfect for their characters. Everything felt good. Everything was enjoyable. I had a good time reading this. I hope that's come across as I've tried to share this with you. So everybody who's celebrating Pride Month, I hope you have a good time. You know, the important thing in life for me is that we are who we are. Be who you are. Love who you love. You know, it's as simple as that in my mind. Thank you for watching. Thank you for everybody subscribing to my channel. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, would appreciate you giving me a sub. That would be great. Make sure you look after yourself. Very important these days. And as always, embrace the geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.